What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Packers.com and Packers Preview, the Packers social channels, the Green Bay Packers, getting ready for a big Week 7 contest against, remind me,
who are we playing this Cardinals.
Week? I almost said the Cincinnati Bengals. That's where mentally I'm at right now. Green Bay Packers, Arizona Cardinals, down in Glendale, Arizona. Mike Spofford, Wes Hodkiewicz, here to preview that matchup between the Packers and Cardinals, game 3:25 p.m. Central Start Time on Fox. Mike and I will be here for the next 10 to 15 minutes answering all of your questions on Facebook, X, and YouTube. Submit those there. Our social media department will throw those here, and I will pass them there. And before we get into those questions, though, Michael, we did have the Packers injury report a few moments ago. We know 7 players for the Green Bay Packers are questionable in this one. 3 have been ruled out. Starting with the ruled out, that is Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt, 2 starting defensive linemen. Both will be down for this one, neither of whom practiced this week. Christian Watson has also been ruled out. He was a limited participant all week. He continues to work his way back on the physically unable to perform list, but will not play against the Cardinals. Still a little more than a week left in his 21-day window to be returned to the active roster. The 7 questionable players, Michael, in addition to the ones we expected, Brandon McManus, dealing with the right quadricep injury, did not practice this week. Along with him, Zach Tom, still working through the oblique and the back issue, questionable. Dontavian Wicks, questionable with the ankle. Then that turns over to Anthony Melton, who returned this week. Packers rookie, second-round pick, questionable with an ankle. 2 of the ones that probably caught me a little bit by surprise, Josh Jacobs, calf and illness, questionable, but was a full participant today. And then lastly, starting cornerback Nate Hobbs, limited today in practice and also questionable with a knee. So take all of that, whatever you want to make of it. Just quickly on the Arizona Cardinals side of things, Kyler Murray is questionable, but we'll see what happens there. And Marvin Harrison Jr. progressed through the concussion protocol, doesn't even have an injury designation for Sunday. He will play against the Packers. There it is all, Michael. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I was certainly caught off guard hearing that Josh Jacobs and Nate Hobbs both pop up on the injury report right at the end of the week. They're both listed as questionable for the game. I mean, we don't really know any details on these injuries because this all came out after all the media access is done. Nobody to ask questions to or find out what's up. So we'll just have to see. We don't even know in a Hobbs situation, is that the same knee that he had the procedure on in training camp and was out for a while, or is this a completely different kind of thing? But hopefully it's sort of like no big deal, something small cropped up. They have to list him as questionable because there's just that slight chance that they may not play. But we don't know that. It might be something more than that, and we'll find out about 90 minutes before kickoff on Sunday.
Before the alarmists get alarmed, though, the fact that he was a full participant today and Friday seems to suggest there's optimism there, I would think.
Yeah.
But again, we'll see exactly where things sort out through the weekend. All right, let's start with the questions. I'm going to take this first one from Terry Greer on X. Will we see more of Golden? And what will his impact be when Watson comes back with both Golden and Watson's speed?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to continue to see Matthew Golden's role in this offense grow, and he's going to continue to become more and more impactful. I think for everybody who's waiting for Matthew Golden to get 12 catches for 175 yards or whatever, you have to remember Tucker Kraft and Josh Jacobs and Romeo Doubs are on this team too, right? I mean, we see like Thursday Night Football, Jamar Chase has this monster game with Joe Flacco, right? Well, T. Higgins only caught 5 passes, I mean, so if you're gonna look for these big like monster games from guys, it's gonna come at the expense of somebody else, and that's usually just not how the Packers run things on offense. But that being said, everything we've seen from Matthew Golden is that things are continuing to progress, continuing to grow. Where things go once Watson gets back in the lineup with him, that could be a scary combination for defenses because that's a lot of speed on the field, but 2 very, very fast, speedy receivers who also have different body types and play the game very differently.
There's a little smile on Matthew Golden's face this week, too, when he was asked that question about what this potential is going to be for him in this offense once Christian Watson is back. I think everybody's excited to see that.
No doubt.
And certainly, you have to see how it all shapes out when you get everybody on the field. Hopefully have the right people healthy at the right time, but that speed is real. When you have a guy that's in the 4.2s and you have a guy at Christian speed that's Christian's size, that's in the 4.3s.
Yeah.
It doesn't get very much better than that at the receiver position. 11 Real Deal on YouTube. I think that's your handle, is it not? Or is that someone in your family? I forget. What do you guys think is limiting Edgerrin Cooper's tackles for loss so far this season? This is kind of a topic, a version of it that got brought up to Jeff Hafley when we were talking to him on Thursday. Certainly, I love the way Hafley handled it, basically saying, like, you want him rushing more. Like, you want to see him blitzing more. And I wrote in our Insider Inbox column, which will be posted tomorrow morning, the challenge now with Edgerrin Cooper in year 2, now that he's healthy, now that he has the experience in the system, is he does a bunch of things well.
Yeah.
He covers the field sideline to sideline. He defends the run. I think he's made improvements as a coverage linebacker, dropping back. But certainly, the first thing we all saw last year was the pass rushing ability, the blitzing ability, the simulated pressures, and that's been one area where at times they've used it, at times they didn't. It was kind of the first 3 quarters, I don't think we saw much of it in that game against the Bengals. The 4th quarter, they did it on a handful of occasions. So when you ask the question about where the tackles for loss is, they're still out there, but I think what fans are having a hard time adjusting their eyeballs to is the fact that he is playing more of a traditional off-coverage linebacker role in year 2.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's as Quay Walker is, as Micah Parsons is, and Rashawn Gary and all these guys, they're all a big part of the Packers' run defense being among the best in the league right now. So you have to understand that part of it. The other part, when it comes to like those splash plays, the blitzes and the sacks and the quarterback hits and whatnot, I mean, Jeff Hafley's had to be careful in the sense that, you know, opposing quarterbacks are taking 3-step drops and getting the ball out. So coming after quarterbacks in that situation when the ball is going to come out so quickly, if you're going to send blitzing linebackers, all you're doing is reducing the guys that you have on the other side of the line of scrimmage to make tackles on the short passes so that they don't end up getting big gains on them. So you have to kind of factor all that into the bigger picture. For as much as the Cincinnati Bengals moved the ball in the second half in that game last week, they didn't have a single play of longer than 19 yards. The Packers really they gave up a couple of explosives, when you define explosives as 16 plus, but neither one of those explosives even hit 20 yards. Jeff Hafley's happy with that because the more you make an offense run more plays, you know, have to convert third downs, you give your defense that many more opportunities to get off the field. And I think, you know, all of that stuff with Cooper, it doesn't mean, my point is, it doesn't mean that Cooper's like not having a good season or something like that.
I just think this is what always happens when you have a young player. You introduce them, could be offense, defense, sometimes it's even special teams. You introduce them to a certain phase of the game and they do something really well. Fans just kind of like fixate on that, like, okay, this is what this guy's known for. The Packers drafted Edgerrin Cooper because, he had 8 sacks his last year at Texas A&M. There's a lot to like about him in that capacity, and that's where his role was in year 1. But year 2, especially with Eric Wilson gone, he was kind of picked out to be like that will linebacker to Quay Walker's Mike.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing them use in that capacity as well. I'm really glad you brought up the run defense thing. You give credit to the guys on the defensive front, the defensive line, for the job that they're doing there. 73 yards per game allowed this season. But the linebackers are a big part of that too. And I think that sometimes gets overlooked when you're looking at the totality of a defense. It falls so much on those D linemen, but it's the first 2 levels that are factoring into that.
Absolutely.
This question, I believe, Flurp on Facebook. So there you go, Flurp.
That must be your relative.
I sure hope that's not, I didn't say something that's just like, I don't know what that even means. But,
I don't either.
Who's an under-the-radar player that could swing this game in Green Bay's favor?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting
Can
question.
I give you mine while you think of yours?
Go for it.
Potentially Lucas Haversek again.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a young man that today is Friday. Last Friday, at this time, he wasn't even on the roster yet. He had worked out for the Packers. They signed him on Saturday. He practiced and ultimately ends up kicking 2 field goals, very consequential ones, the first one and the last one, and then also 3 extra points in that matchup to give themselves a cushion against the Cincinnati Bengals. I loved, there was a quote, I believe it was with Bill Huber and Jason Wilde interviewing Brandon McManus this week as McManus works through this quad issue in his kicking leg. But they asked him about, like, what was your advice to Lucas before the game? What did you say to him? He's like, go out there and make some money. Because when you look at the landscape of this league right now, These auditions go so far. I mean,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
Parker Romo is a good example of that, right?
No doubt.
Parker had the opportunity to go and kick in Minnesota last year. Obviously, that job is pretty much spoken for already. But this year, when an opportunity opened up in Atlanta, he ends up landing it, right? And it's a challenge to land one of the 32 jobs in the league, the permanent jobs in the league with these teams, but the opportunity is always there. And if they do need to turn to Lucas again in this one, it's going to be an indoor game this time around. Doesn't have to deal with the blustery conditions that him and Rich Bisaccia and everybody were working through last Sunday.
Yeah.
Again, Brandon McManus said, doesn't necessarily need to practice in order to play on Sunday, but if the Packers do have to turn to the second-year kicker again in a relief appearance, he showed he could handle it last week.
Yeah, he absolutely did, and I think that's a good call as far as an under-the-radar guy who could play a big role. I'm going to go back to what we were talking about with regard to the injury report. If I'm picking an under-the-radar guy for this game, I'm going with Emmanuel Wilson. Because
Yep.
Josh Jacobs had, I believe it was 23 touches last week to get that 150 yards with the 2 touchdowns. I mean, with the calf and the illness thing, if for some reason he's not up to 20-plus touches in a game again, some of those touches are going to go to Emmanuel Wilson. And when Wilson was, getting the ball on a somewhat regular basis, especially in the second half against Dallas a couple of weeks back, we saw that he could produce as well. And the Packers still would have all the confidence in the world in their running game if they need to turn to Wilson to get the job done.
All right, next question. This one is from Braulio Ramirez on YouTube. Are you guys going to the Packers pep rally tomorrow? Are we?
Of course we are.
What? You can't have a Packers pep rally without Mike and Wes. Well, we almost had one without Wes this week, but we're going. Actually, and I'm glad. I'm thankful to my boss, an intrepid leader. Honestly, somebody that I aspire to be, right, in my day-to-day life. When you talk about idols, when you talk about motivation, when you talk about men and women and individuals that are at the peak of their profession, I think of Duke Bauer. And Duke, being as kind as he is, sent me the pep rally details because, again, always on top of his game. Can't say enough about him. In Arizona, the event will take place at Loco Patron Brewery, which is located at 14950 North Site Boulevard in Scottsdale. Scottsdale's a beautiful, beautiful part of this country. Alumni that are scheduled to appear are Nick Barnett, Robert Brooks, and James Jones, our favorite
JJ.
James Jones, friend of the show, James Jones. The rally prizing begins at 4 p.m. local time. The program featuring the alumni and us, that begins at 6 o'clock. So we look forward to that.
There we go.
All right. Again, Mike Spofford, Wes Hodkowitz, Packers preview brought to you by Microsoft Copilot. Packers taking on the Arizona Cardinals Sunday, 3:25 p.m. Central Start Time. Game that can be viewed on Fox. A couple more minutes. We'll be here. Feel free to still submit your questions. X, Facebook, YouTube. We'll do our best to answer them to the best of our ability. Nick on X. How does this Packers defense prepare for 2 very different Arizona Cardinals quarterbacks? Very interesting, I thought. Obviously, what is, you can just say that, okay, well, Kyler has a chance. Questionable. Did not play last week, foot injury. It has that in the back of your mind. You and I have talked about it in a lot of our content this week, a lot of our videos this week. This is going to be the big question. Is it Murray? Is it Brissett? And depending on who that individual is, you almost sort of need a different game plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenge, I think, for the Packers to prepare this week with that uncertainty in mind as far as the quarterback of the opponent. I'm guessing, based on things that have been reported out of Arizona and kind of what the landscape looks like, I think it's going to be Brissett on Sunday because reporters covering the Cardinals have said that even as late as today's practice on Friday that Kyler Murray was working with the scout team receivers and Jacoby Brissett was working with the starting offense. So there's that. The other factor...
That's why we're usually not in it 11-11, but yeah.
But the other factor is that the Cardinals have their bye next week. So in some respects, and with Brissett coming off of a really good performance, 320 yards and almost pulled the upset in Indianapolis against a Colts team that's playing really well. The fact that Brissett played really well, Murray is not entirely healthy, and the Cardinals have their bye next week. It just seems to a lot of the tea leaves seem to kind of point to Brissett getting another start. So that's what I think is going to happen there. Uh-oh.
We got a question from Facebook. This is from Doris Pringle. Hello, boys. Thank you for streaming tonight. Best part of my whole week. Question you can ask Mike Spofford. Give a motivating message into the camera for the Brew Crew.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my God.
Win one for the Gipper, boys. Win one for the Gipper. Let's go.
Win 4, maybe?
Hey, you can't win 4 games tonight. You can only win 1 tonight. So win 1. Win 1.
Brewers, can they get one? Can they steal one?
They can, okay. But I don't know if they will.
That's a lot of hope you got there, Michael. Oh my gosh, yeah, that's unfortunate. I will say one of the things I had a lot of fun doing. It was cool to actually be at that Brewer game last Saturday. First time I've been to a game in 7 years. Obviously, seeing them clinch. You had a good line. Not that people want to hear about this on Packers Preview, brought to you by Microsoft Surface, but
Copilot,
Microsoft Copilot. Now I'm going nuts now. But you mentioned to me in the past about how you'd been to the wild card game, you'd been to the divisional round game, been to the NLCS at various points, seeing them play.
Yeah.
I had been to the divisional round playoff game, or no, the wild card. Against the Philly. Was that the wild card?
No,
yeah.
that was the division series.
Division series.
Yeah, we discovered you and I were actually at
the
same game before we even knew each other.
And while I did get to watch Dave Bush win that game in Game 3,
he did.
They lost the series the following day against the Phillies.
When the Packers were playing the Atlanta Falcons here at Lambeau Field. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers still playing at that point. Wild. But no, what was cool is actually seeing them clinch. Even if we'll see what happens, but seeing them clinch, that was a neat moment.
That's cool.
All right, couple more minutes here. Emilio on YouTube. Who has a better game of the Melton brothers, Bo or Max? I mean, obviously Bo. That goes without saying. It has to be Bo. I'll tell you what. You asked one of the questions this week, or maybe it was after the game. I can't remember it. But Bo Melton, kickoff returner. Him and Savion Williams had a nice little game on Sunday.
Yeah.
Being able to, everybody always thinks about kickoff returns as, hey, you got to get a touchdown, everything like that. Being able to get your offense out to the 35, 40-yard line, 2 longest returns of the season for Green Bay, that wasn't bad.
No, I mean, there were, I believe I counted, there were 4 possessions, the Packers started off of a kickoff by the Bengals where they started with the ball on the 34-yard line or better. Obviously the 35-yard line is the touchback spot if they kick it all the way into the end zone on the fly. If they don't, you want to try to get it out there as close or beyond if you can. And for those guys combining on the kickoff return duties to do that 4 times after, the Packers spent a lot of time in Dallas starting on the 20 because they weren't running those bouncing kicks out of the end zone. So there's definitely been a step forward there on special teams. Hopefully it continues.
I got to say, too, because, again, Bo will have the better game. There's no question about that. But Matt LaFleur had some really nice comments this morning about Max. And I actually asked Bo about it this week, too, the progression he's seen from his younger brother in year 2. He's now one of the starting defensive cornerbacks in the secondary for Arizona. And as LaFleur had talked about it, what's been most impressive about him is his recovery speed, which I think everybody kind of projected. Much like Bo, Max just gifted with incredible athleticism. And with the cornerback position, that's such an important piece.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be able to cover. It's one thing to be able to press. But if you do get beat, do you have the speed to make up for it? Max certainly has that. It's one of the reasons why he's really graduated to just a defensive role this year, not really playing teams like last October when they met here at Lambeau Field.
Right.
A couple more minutes here on X, Michael. Bring back backwards hat Spoff. We have to get that one done at some point.
All right.
Next week?
Okay.
Backwards hat?
Okay.
It's probably the first Packers preview you haven't worn a hat in a minute.
Yeah. It kind of goes back and forth on Fridays whether I'm wearing a hat or not. But
Facebook, Mary Catherine, see you at Loco Patron tomorrow. Looking forward to that. I think we're going to see Ray from Phoenix said he's going to be there, devoted inbox reader.
Yeah.
My good friends Tyler Herrick and Monty, they're both going to be there as well. Tyler of Cheesehead TV fame. Monty, who selflessly gave his knee to help facilitate the Micah Parsons trade back in August. He came to Green Bay, Wisconsin, played over at Titletown, and completely dislocated his kneecap. Can you believe that?
Ouch.
They had to call the paramedics and he had to get
gosh.
the ambulance over here.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I didn't know things got so rough over there.
No, man. When you play pickup football like we do, I wasn't there, thankfully. I would have laughed. But Monty Moore gave a piece of himself that day over at the field. You want to wrap it up? Oh, actually, wait. What is this one?
This is your show, bro.
Fluttershy on YouTube. Renee Gabriel, our social media manager, saying she'll be at the pep rally. Awesome, Renee. Good to hear. Fluttershy, I have a question. What is the longest touchdown in NFL history? Do you know offhand?
Well, yeah, it's 99. Well, you're saying, I guess.
Longest touchdown in NFL history.
Longest pass or run is 99 yards, but the longest, there have been.
It's like a couple 108 yard.
Yeah, I think 108. It's either 108 or 109 would be the longest.
The longest rushes in NFL history. Amon Green is 2. He's got the 98 yarder.
Yeah, he had the 98 yarder. Yeah.
But I forgot Derrick Henry's 99 yarder in 18 is the longest run.
Yeah, Tony Dorsett had a 99 yarder at the
he's-
Metrodome in Minnesota back when I was a
I don't know how to
kid.
use technology.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, we'll just leave it be at that. Mike said that. Chad is saying it's 67 yards. This is the other thing, too. When I completely broke down there a couple minutes ago, when I completely crashed, it was because I was getting inundated with 6-7
Oh,
things
of course.
in the chat.
Yeah.
Because obviously that's the way it's got to be. Oh, my goodness. What a life this is. Chat saying it's 67 yards. In case anyone wants a photo with me, Renee Gabriel will be at the pep rally tomorrow. So go find Renee. She'll be happy to take a photo with you. Packers, Cardinals, 3-1 Packers, 3-1-1 Packers, 2-4 Cardinals. You want to give me a quick key for the Green Bay Packers to come out of there with their first road win of the year?
Yeah, I mean, there's I've been saying all week, there's two things that I want to see from this team, one on each side of the ball. On the offensive side, I'd like to see that kind of one really damaging bad play eliminated from what's happened on offense, because there's been so much good offensive play, especially over the last 2 games. But yet there's been, as I think you called it on Unscripted, the bug on the windshield. There's just been that one play each game that you want to get rid of. And on the defensive side of the ball, I just want to see resiliency. Nobody's expecting or demanding that this Packers defense, which has played so well for such a large part of the season, to go out and shut everybody out, put zeros up on the scoreboard. I mean, this game is geared to offense. Offenses are going to put together drives, they're going to score points. If you give up a scoring drive, then bounce back and get back at it on the next drive, and don't let things start snowballing the wrong way on the defensive side. That's what's got to change there.
Last 99-yard passing touchdown, do you remember what it was? I wouldn't ask you this if you had no shot at it.
I mean, it's not the Favre to Brooks, right?
No. There's been a few. There's been five since then.
Five of them. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Robert Brooks will be at the pep rally. You can ask him about it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Rebecca will.
I'm sure she will.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So first off, 2002 December, former Packers great Mark Boerichter had a 99-yard touchdown pass from Trent Green. Kansas City.
Yep.
Jeff Garcia hit Andre Davis with the Cleveland Browns, for a 99-yarder.
Wow. That one I don't have no recollection.
2008, Gus Frerotte, 99 yards to Bernard Berrien.
Oh yeah, that was with the Vikings.
With the Vikings, 34-14 win over the Bears. And then the last two both happened during the 2011 season. Tom Brady and Wes Welker, a 38-24 win over Miami. And Eli Manning and Victor Cruz. Christmas Eve, 2011.
He was the guy who did the salsa dance thing, right? Where
Yes.
He'd score touchdowns. Yep. Victor Cruz.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's
legend.
Right. Yeah.
Won me a fantasy football title a long, long time ago.
There you go.
Mike Spofford, Wes Hockwitz, we thank you as always for joining us. Packers Preview brought to you by Microsoft Copilot. A ton of content up on Packers.com right now. I wrote a profile this week on Nazir Stackhouse. kind of looking back at his story. It was something we were trying to initially write after he made the team as an undrafted rookie. Sometimes these things take a little bit longer to get going, but our wonderful digital department, our social staff did a tremendous job of helping me package all that together. A nice story, not so much written by me, but definitely from Nazir and his mom and what they've kind of gone through and sacrificed for him to make it in the NFL. Also, Micah Parsons had some thoughts yesterday on a bevy of topics.
Yes, he did.
Including kind of some of the issues and things he's working through right now in his pursuit of the quarterback. Meanwhile, the Packers quarterback, Jordan Love, scrambling, running, showing his legs this year, already has more rushing yards than he did all of last season. And Matthew Golden has been the guy in a lot of those gotta-have-him situations. Mike covered that, along with his One Last Look column, which will be posted tomorrow on Packers.com. But for Mike Spofford, I'm Wes Hodquist, Tyler Gajewski behind the camera, and until next time, good night, everybody.